Download the BCSN Plus app today. Local sports all the time. Visit bcsnnation.com for details. Discounts may apply.
Now that the school year is over and students are becoming alumni, we welcome in Alumni Engagement Officer Will Garbe from St. Francis. Thanks for coming in tonight.
Hey, thank you, Sherwin. Appreciate being here.
So what goes into being an Alumni Engagement Officer?
Well, we have at St. Francis over 10,000 alums since we opened our doors 70 years ago. And my job is pretty fun. So I get to meet with several hundred of those alums every year. And the thing that I love most about that is I get to hear their stories, and I get to hear the things that they love about St. Francis. And I think I've kind of determined that over the years, there are two things that come up usually. And the first is discipline, right? And not necessarily in terms of, getting demerits, or we'd call them jugs, detentions, but really the discipline that it takes to be a St. Francis student. So putting on a coat and tie every day, you have to have dress slacks. If you're a lower classman, you have to be clean shaven. So that's one of those things. Another would be, for instance, our senior steps, right? So that's a tradition that we have where there's a staircase in the school that's reserved for seniors only. And for underclassmen, that's a little bit of, delayed gratification maybe, and learning how to wait for something that might be a little easier. So that's the one part that I hear from our alums is they love the discipline that they get at St. Francis in a good way, in a positive way. The other thing that I hear from our alums that I think is it's very edifying for me is the relationships that people have from St. Francis. And the relationships first among their classmates, right? So I graduated in 2010. Some of my classmates from back then are some of my best friends still today. So you see that even today with guys, the class that just graduated at the Peristyle last weekend, guys who are just good friends, and they're really brothers. The other thing, it would be relationships between faculty and students. I have people who come back to school who they say, hey, I want to see Coach Gherkin, or I want to see Father Oshevsky or Father Rose. And you hear all throughout, the years, the impact that the faculty, the Oblates of St. Francis de Sales, the Order of Priests and Brothers who run our school, the impact that they've had. And sure, the last thing I'd say is this. The relationship that our students develop with God, which I think is very important. So, fundamental to being a Catholic school is to bring people closer to the Lord. And so those relationships, whether it's student to student or student to faculty, alumni to alumni, and then the relationships that we all have with God, I think that's the things that I hear from alums that they love most about St. Francis. So, and it's certainly the case for me, which I think is why it comes off so easily, because that's what I loved about the school myself.
It also comes off so easily, like you say, you graduated in 2010,
yeah.
But you're part of a long line of St. Francis graduates, aren't you?
I am actually, yeah. So my great uncle Bob, he's a former oblate of St. Francis de Sales. He passed away a couple of years ago, but he was in the first four-year graduating class of St. Francis in 1958. Wow. I had an Uncle Pete who was in the class of 67. I had, my dad was 82, his brothers were late 80s, and then I was 2010. So yeah, we got a number of three-generation families at St. Francis that are, in fact, in this past graduating class, we had a number of guys who were three-generation graduates, so it's pretty cool.
What does we'll call it off-season, but what does the summer look like for you?
Well, the summer's visiting with a lot of alums. We've got some exciting projects that we're working on that will become public in the next couple of months and years. And so really it's working on that. It's making sure that we can continue the mission of St. Francis for years to come. I think we're in a fantastic spot for it. This fall is going to be our 70th anniversary as a school. And so as we look ahead to our 75th anniversary in 2030, we've got a lot of fun stuff planned, and I think that the community is going to come to see us as they already know us, which is really as a resource. A community-wide resource. Father Rose, our president, talks about that we're not just for us, that we're also a gift to the city of Toledo. And so for me, it's a lot of keeping the eye on the ball with that and making sure that those projects move forward. So it's pretty exciting.
Well, we can't wait to see it. Will, thanks so much for joining us tonight on the Catholic High School Spotlight.
Hey, it's my pleasure. Thank you.